Welcome to the Cardinals Squad Show. It is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, host of Locked On Phoenix Suns. The Arizona Cardinals fall in their season finale. What's our takes on it? We'll discuss it.
I'm Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman. After the Cardinals have their 9th straight loss, are the coaches safe or not?
Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Good riddance with 2025. Start the show.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals Squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals fall once again, ending their season on a 9-game losing streak. My name is Benjamin Garcia. I got Clancy and Jamil with me to break this all down. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, don't forget that Locked On Phoenix Suns free available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands of Cardinals fans have already done. Become it every day and get Locked On the Cardinals right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you might be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel and place your NFL live bets all season long. The Arizona Cardinals lose. We're going to make sense of this loss. Clancy, why don't you give us your instant reactions?
I mean, it's the best case scenario. They lost. They competed for 2.5 quarters, and who cares? At the end, it's like everything matters. Of course, kudos to Michael Wilson, who got over 1,000 yards after having 52 receiving yards through 5 weeks with Kyler Murray. He had over 950 yards receiving the last 12 games with Jacoby Brissett. Trey McBride is going to finish top 3 in receptions. We know what the Cardinals have moving forward on offense, at least skill position-wise, from the wide receiver room. Jacoby looked pretty good. The defense, Will Johnson got hurt. Again, Budda Baker missed time. I'm just happy the season's over and there weren't any more catastrophic injuries that we've pretty much grown to be commonplace for the entirety of this season.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously happy that the team got out healthy for the majority of the part. I know Budda Baker was hurt, but he ended up coming back. Like you said, they competed for 2 quarters. I did think that we finally got to see something that we hadn't seen all year, and it was an aggressive call in terms of the fake punt. And you see what finally happened. The fake punt ends up going for after that there's a touchdown. And so to me, it kind of verified that I feel like the Cardinals played not to lose all year, and we know what the result was, but competed for 2 quarters and came up short, kind of how I kind of figured the game would go. They would compete, and then the Rams would just kind of take over in terms of the talent that they have.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of the typical Cardinals loss where they kind of made their mini run as they have done a couple of different times this season, whether it's against the Buccaneers where they got in close in that game, or early on in the season where they came back against the Seattle Seahawks and then they completely flatlined. I'm honestly dumbfounded how this team ended up taking a lead, was very much in control of this game, and then Sean McVay leaned forward in his chair like he's playing a video game and just decided, we're done toying around with this team. It felt like Matt Stafford looked a little old until they got down. And then the Cardinals completely fell apart. That part of it was a little embarrassing. I thought there was something to be said that they were still playing really, really hard. Now, how much of that really matters, I don't know. But I got to be honest with you, it was a little frustrating to see them play their best football in the past 2 months in the first couple of quarters when, again, it was already over. Why didn't they start taking risks 3 weeks ago where they had the fake punt? It's like, oh, that was a pretty good design call. It just I'm curious to know why it happened now. Some of the timely plays, the ballsy play calling. That's more what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was that far different outside of the fake punt. I mean, whatever. These are things that don't need to be really hair splitted, for lack of a better phrase. It's like the positives that I took away far outweigh the negatives, because the negatives have been here since the week after the Dallas loss. It's been the same stuff, and hopefully Will Johnson's knee injury isn't serious, because this could leak into next year, and you just hope he's in an ice bath for 3 months and he can recover. The big thing for me today was Michael Wilson do it again. Trey McBride do it again, because that's really the only thing that we have grabbed onto here for the offense for next year. Because everybody else hurt. Everybody else is hurt. I feel like, and Jonathan Vilma said it on the broadcast, even though he forgot 8 players' names on the Cardinals throughout watching it. It's like, hey, dude, do a little. Just give me a little. I know you don't have to know who Owen Papo is. No, he's not Dejan Taylor Demerson. Just come on. Come on. Weird. Just like, don't be looking down at your notes. Know the players. Okay, number one. Number two, it's like Jacoby Brissett, but he said something very smart. He's like, you put Jacoby Brissett with a run game, Marvin Harrison Jr. healthy, and then Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. Like, people say that Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield, they have these career renaissances. They've had the best, those last 2 years with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay have had the best, skill position players they've ever had in the league. It's like, oh, interesting. Maybe you put a quarterback behind a competent offensive line and they can make things happen. I'm not saying it's going to reach that level, but you bring in a couple offensive linemen through the draft and free agency, you roll it back with Jacoby, like, he hasn't played terrible at all this year. He hasn't been elite, but he hasn't been, Brady Cook.
Is it fair to say? Is it fair to say he's just been a backup though? Like he's
he's not a career backup. Like you've said that a couple times. He's not a career backup. He started a full year in Indianapolis. He started half a season in Miami. He started half a season in Cleveland. He played a couple games in Washington. He started 5 games last year to start the season in New England. He's been the guy that you want as a backup because he can come in and be 70% of what your starter is. That's what you need nowadays to, like, ask Cincinnati how important it is to have a backup that can actually play when your quarterback gets hurt. Like, Jacoby's been the last thing on the ladder that's been an issue this year. It's been everything else. I think Jamil wanted Jacoby from day one.
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. You're not going to find too many quote unquote backup quarterbacks that'll give you 21 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions.
With how much he has to throw the ball?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 454 attempts on the season. So he ended up throwing for 3,000 something yards this year, which is crazy considering he was not the starter. So you don't find guys around the league that can have that type of production and step up to the plate. If we're just being honest, yeah, he didn't play bad this year. It just didn't translate to wins. As far as this game, the game changed when they got the personal foul penalty on Gaines. Obviously, the big completion to Michael Wilson, they take a shot down the sideline. He comes down with it. And I thought it was a bad call. That's not just me speaking as an offensive lineman. I know what the rule is, but I think you got to let the guys play. But that's when the game changed. I feel like that when you take a big play away from a team like the Cardinals who really can't, they don't do that all too often. They do have them here and there. That's when the momentum shifted and the Rams were kind of able to take over the game.
So to Ben's credit, Ben has been saying, hey, they should just lose all the games. Cool. Of all the penalties, that's the one I'm like, all right. Like, if it's at the end of the year, it's like, who cares? It's like, yes, maybe it was a bad call, and obviously you have seen from your own 2 eyes what it's like. But of all the plays to be called back, it's like, they're getting a little close. They get a little momentum. Maybe that's the right one to be like, you know what? Let's stick at 4. No need to drop to 6. Let's stick at 4 for the 2026 draft and solidify it. But yeah, I think you're right.
Well, I think the 2 biggest things also to come from this season is obviously we know how great Trey McBride is, but I don't know how much the argument is going to be anymore about Michael Wilson not just being okay, here's a better question, because this kind of got me a little bit of trouble with the Suns calling someone else expendable. But does Michael Wilson, his emergence as a number 1 wide receiver, or at least potentially really a wide receiver to Trey McBride, does he make Marvin Harrison Jr. more expendable?
No, I absolutely not. Like, I just don't. Marv's not going to be what everybody thought he was going to be. Jordan Tyson will be, and the Cardinals are going to have to pass on him because they have to draft an offensive lineman. That's just going to be the Arizona Cardinals in a nutshell. We already know what's going to happen. Yeah, hook 'em or whatever it is with fork stuff, whatever Arizona State is.
But so stupid.
But I think that the Marv thing, and it upsets people's stomachs a little bit. This year was better than last year in important situations, but it wasn't close to sustainable this year because he played more meaningful football last year. This is an offensive scheme thing for me before we figure out what Marvin is. Like, this is sustainable for one wide receiver one and one tight end one. And that's it. If it's not Drew Petzing, we'll be able to see if you can get the ball to three playmakers. I mean, is that fair? I mean, no run game. He's been hobbled since the bye week. Like, it's not an excuse. It's more of a reason why Michael Wilson wouldn't be doing this if Marvin was playing. I mean, schematically wise, it wouldn't be possible. Schematically, it wouldn't be possible. It's addition by subtraction in this offense.
To be honest, I don't really think I believe it all that much either. It feels a little much. But Jamil, would you say that's different at all?
I saw that mini eye roll.
Nah, the eye roll was more so as this is like one of the more complex situations in terms of receivers. Like, we see receivers all over the league figure this thing out. Devontae, Puka, AJ, Devontae, like, we see Jamar and T. Higgins. Yeah. We see production with guys that we consider 1-2 or 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. And so it's confusing to me why when one isn't there, the other has this boost in production, but when both are there, there's a lack of production. So I don't know, man. I think with Marv, I have the mentality of like, what have you done for me lately? It's unfortunate that I feel like he didn't get to establish himself, and he's kind of being pushed to the side because of Michael Wilson's, emergence. But the reality of it is he's a top 5 pick. He's going to get a lot more opportunities to prove himself, and you just hope that at some point you see what you grabbed him for.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing, and for the most part, I agree with you. Like, this is the thing that needs to be looked at moving forward because it's solidified now. It is 100% the Cardinals will have an all-pro tight end for the next 7 years, you'd hope. Okay, something like that. So you can't be looking at this offense anymore like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase because neither of them are tight ends. Or like any 1-2 punch with wide receivers. You got to look at it like San Francisco. You got to look at it like Tennessee or Kansas City. You got to look at it like these all-world tight ends who are going to be the number one option, and then the wide receivers, because that's what it's going to be. It's not going to change. What do we talk about going into this season? You hope that Marv nips at the heels of Trey McBride for relevancy and targets. That obviously didn't happen with Michael Wilson, but it's still Trey McBride. So you got to shift your whole mentality on what this offense is going to look like because it's Trey McBride first. It's not a wide receiver first. And it changes the entire makeup of an offense, right?
Yeah.
They're a completely different position.
For sure.
Well, and I want to stick with this really quickly.
Good problem to have. But
it is curious. Well, the reason why I say this is because there is so many different layers to it. You could talk about the why is he not as good as Michael Wilson? Well, if Michael Wilson is good in this offense, is it a Drew Petzing issue or is it a Marvin Harrison Jr. issue? Because I don't know what it is. What is it more of? Is it on Drew or is it on Marvin?
Jamil, you tell me what it was like in Tennessee with that offense, with that kind of that different configure thing with Delaney and then AJ and things like that. Like it wasn't a normal setup wide receiver wise, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a normal setup for sure. You talking about in terms of us having Corey Davis, AJ Brown.
That's a perfect example. Corey Davis, top 5 pick. AJ
Yeah.
Brown was what, 16 or 17, I think.
Yeah, something.
And then
like
Delaney was what really established. He was on that team, right?
Yeah,
he was tight on that team.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's actually kind of the perfect comparison to what we're experiencing now with the Cardinals, even though Michael Wilson was a 3rd rounder.
Yeah, and I'll say this: it took, I think, Corey Davis a longer time to come on, as opposed to AJ. Establish himself right away. And I spoke about this before. Like, we also had Derrick Henry that we were handing the ball off to 25 times a game, which made it to where when the receivers got their opportunities, they maximized on it. I said before, AJ would get 4 or 5 targets a game. Corey might get 3 or 4 a game, and Delaney would get 3 or 4 a game, but they maximized on it. I think the difference here is like, we see Michael Wilson maximize, we see Trey McBride maximize. We don't necessarily see the Marv doing the same thing here and there, maybe, but it just hasn't been consistent enough for what you've gotten him for.
I just sorry, I thought someone was going to say something there. Okay, well,
You were going to say something.
Yeah, it's your turn.
What? No, I guess it is my turn to turn the subject another direction, but continuously talking about as well the rest of the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff. We talked about the players, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Let's talk about this Arizona Cardinals coaching staff. Are they officially safe? Should they be? We'll make our final predictions, and let's do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at FanDuel. Fridays are already feel different during basketball season, and making FanDuel and using FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing from NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, keeping the show rolling. The Arizona Cardinals have some coaching decisions that they want to make. Ian Rappaport did put out a report yesterday. Yesterday would be Saturday. He had basically came out and said that they expect the Arizona Cardinals to retain Jonathan Gannon, although Michael Bidwell hasn't made any sweeping promises yet. And there is going to be significant change, but also that Nick Wallace is seen as a coach on the rise, potentially young superstar head coach someday. So now that the Arizona Cardinals have lost 9 straight games, we'll ask the age-old question, and we'll get an answer tomorrow on Black Monday. Clancy, what are we doing now with this Cardinals?
Well, I'm more curious about what Jamil thinks. Like, Jamil, because here's the thing. Jamil's been very, what the hell are we doing here, guys? In so many words. Like, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but that's what you said. Why are we even discussing these guys coming back in any sort of universe, including, one in Interstellar or whatever? Like, why are we doing this here? All of them should be gone. Pack it. You weren't good enough. Nothing shows why you should come back, which is rational. 100%. We've talked about this ad nauseum pretty much since after the Dallas Cowboys game. But the world is that's probably not going to happen. So in the world of that new rationale, which is irrational to begin with, are we looking at Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis and a new OC? Like, are we collectively saying that if you have to pick a combination of Jonathan Gannon and others, what would that be? And Jamil, like, you've been in this, you lived good, bad, and everything in between. Jonathan Gannon's coming back.
Yeah.
What are you surrounding him with?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what you said a few weeks back is you got to get him an established offensive coordinator. If they are moving on from Drew Petzing, which I think is evident at this point. There was a point in the, I think, fourth quarter where the Rams had 136 yards of offense and the Cardinals had 0 in the fourth quarter. So didn't move the ball at all. And I'm curious, just before I get to my point, I think Jonathan Gannon was calling the defense today. There was a point in the game where they showed him on the sideline and he had his call sheet over his mouth, but it just timed up perfectly with, when the play would go. So I'm curious if he gave that a shot today. I think you got to give the guy.
He gave up 37 points. I hope not.
Well, hey, I don't know, but I think you got to give him established coordinators. I think that I also feel like maybe Nick Rallis shouldn't be dialing it up next year. I know that everyone's very high on him, but I feel like he's a younger guy. I feel like you got to get older guys in there that will kind of control things in a better way. So I don't know.
What does that mean? No. We're not doing 27-17 here. This is like, what do you really think would be the best thing for this team with Jonathan Gannon coming back?
See, that I can't.
I
can't.
know.
The reality of it is he's 15-36 now. You know? Yeah. And when you look at, someone who's in his division.
So wait,
Go.
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't realize I was going. I thought you were going to finish. No, I was going to say, okay, we always mentioned the record for Jonathan Gannon. I'm sorry. It's just we always mention the record for Jonathan Gannon. I think it's 15-37. I think that's what you just said. How much of that? Okay, how much of wins and losses are a coaching stat? And then, because people always say wins aren't a quarterback stat, is that also not a coaching stat?
Wins is the only coaching stat.
Wins is the only coaching stat, and
I'm just asking the question.
Trajectory for me means a lot. I was gonna say, if within his division, right? If you look at Mike McDonald, two different spectrums. I think even when they hadn't had it figured out, it felt like, okay, there is something here, and we can continue to lean on this guy, and he'll get us in the right direction. On the Cardinals side, it does not feel like that to me. It doesn't feel like, yes, you have guys that are still showing up. You got some ball players and guys that haven't just thrown in the towel, but it doesn't feel like from a coaching standpoint, like I'm going to outcoach a Sean McVay. I'm going to outcoach a Shanahan. It doesn't feel like you're going to have that with Jonathan Gannon as the head coach. Now, I know we're speaking in terms of him coming back as the head coach. I think you need to look at a Brian Daboll as an offensive coordinator, somebody that has a lot of experience, calling it and just in football in general. I just feel like that's where you have to be with this guy who's a young head coach. You got to surround him with people that are very experienced in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it's obvious that he should be fired. Like, just by the sheer metrics of him coaching. Now, if you want to cut through the filters. So that's the unfiltered record, fired. Okay. Then he's had less than 2 full seasons with Kyler Murray out of 3. Okay. So if we want to give him the check mark for that, Kyler missed a large chunk of the first season and then the majority of this season, obviously after week 5. So less than 2 years out of 3 with Kyler Murray, who is the starter that he came here to coach. That's one. Number 2, and Benjamin Albright, Denver reporter and kind of moonlights as a national media insider, tweeted this out. He said the Cardinals 2025 season was DVOA strength of schedule, statistically the 12th toughest in the history of football. Okay, so you take that, and then all of the injuries, and it's not a matter of being an excuse. If it's a main character, it's in the plot, okay? This isn't an excuse thing. This isn't a loser mentality thing. Everybody's been hurt all year, okay? On top of the fact that, regardless of what you say about Kyler Murray or not, Jacoby Brissett wasn't slated to start this year. He did the best that he could without James Conner and Trey McBride, and a cavalcade of injuries on the offensive line as well. So if there's ever a situation to give a losing head coach a reprieve, it's this one. I'm not saying that it's rational. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that all of the things stacked up against, outside of just the unfiltered record.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm watching Adam Schefter this morning, and they're talking about whether Shane Steichen is safe or on the chopping block. Like that to me is the expectation that is set so high. Like, you talk about a team that went through injury. We're talking about this team being a Super Bowl caliber team through the first 8-9 weeks of the season. Yeah. Daniel Jones goes down and everything, goes down the drain. And they're talking about that guy being on the chopping block.
I think the difference with that is Jim Irsay passed away. His daughter's taken over. He's not her guy. So I think that's kind of a difference. I agree with you. Like, why is it? I almost did the water is wet quote tweet. I'm like, yeah, of course he should be safe. But I mean, John Harbaugh, Matt LaFleur, Kevin Stefanski, there are a lot of guys who've won a lot more whose heads could be on the chopping block than Jonathan Gannon. I get it. But that doesn't change the question. What's the best case scenario for the Cardinals with Jonathan Gannon in 2026? And there isn't an answer. So I agree with you. The offense is the most important thing. Bringing an established offensive mind to run the offense is paramount because that's not JG's thing. That's number one, isn't it? That's got to be it.
I don't know how you keep him around after this, but they're going to. And I got to be honest with you, man. If I'm being truthful about this, I know Jonathan Gannon should be fired, but I have never felt more bamboozled by a head coach, which still, in my heart of hearts, still makes me believe he can be a good head coach for this team. I've never seen someone come in and talk the talk as good as Jonathan Gannon has done. He just hasn't walked the walk until then. And so I'll tell you what, man, I'm very confused about Jonathan Gannon because you still see the players playing really hard. I think he is a leader of men, and yet they can't win any games. And I don't think a lot of it is on him. But then you mention all the other stuff of like his record, and he has to go. But clearly, let me ask you this, Clancy, because I don't know if Jamil can really answer this because he hasn't been around the whole Cardinal thing for a really long time, and he doesn't have the history of just how cheap Michael Bidwell has been for the duration of this. How much of this, Clancy, do you think has to do with he just doesn't want to pay another head coach? Because he's got
I don't think it's that.
JG
I don't think it's that.
I don't think it is either.
No, but it is tied to that. I don't think he wants to admit that he's wrong again. It's more that. The money, he gave Jonathan Gannon $5 million a year, a 5-year, $25 million contract for a guy that's never coached before. That's on him. Like, more what I'm curious about with this is, Jamil, you've been around a lot of good coaches and bad coaches. And I say bad, not you. Have you ever seen a coach turn this around and become a good coach from going through 3 years of this, regardless of adversity?
Not 3 years.
Okay.
Not 3 years. Let's just call it what it is. Coaches don't get a fourth year after.
Yeah, they don't, dude.
You know? So,
well, the first year was a pass, which isn't an original story, but it was a pass. You know, you had a couple wins down the stretch against Chicago and then Philly, and then it's like, oh, rah. And then last year, the crippling of last year was just,
yeah.
So you don't think, so this is unprecedented, uncharted stuff that we're even talking about right now.
To get a fourth year to prove yourself, I keep saying this the past few weeks, like, what is the standard in which you'll say he's done enough for us to I'm talking about next season. Is it make the playoffs? That's a huge jump from winning 3 games, especially in this division that is going to be competitive for the next, I don't know how long, at least 5 years. This division is going to be one of the best in football. So it's like, what are you measuring him up to? Is 7 games good enough for you to say, oh, that was an improvement from a 3 games, win column? So I've never seen guys get a fourth year to turn it around. Like I get the first year is a wash. You got 2 years post that, regardless of injury and, things like that. A lot of that is, it falls on the head coach as well. So I don't know, man. I think that you're wasting time if you plan on giving him a prove it year. Now, if you say he's our guy for the next, I don't know how long, I get it. But if you're just saying, let's see if
you
he
get
can
it.
Yes, if you're saying we're going to stick with this guy for another 5 years, then it makes sense that you're going to bring him back.
Okay.
But if you're saying, hey, you got one year left on your contract, this is a prove it year, it does not. You might as well go get a new coach, because if he doesn't get you to the playoffs, which is a steep climb, you're going to be right back in the same position anyway.
Yep.
Jimmy, I don't think we've asked this before, but again, because you're like our de facto player expert, telling us what's kind of going on.
I thought I was.
Well, you
sometimes
the difference between us that
I played flag football, dude. What are you talking about?
The difference between us and that Jamil doesn't have is that we have lived this team for a really long time, and so we know all the ins and ups and downs. So it's kind of refreshing to have someone in here who just came in and is like, hey, this is not what it's like everywhere else. Is there something for JG that outside of the record, schematics that you see on the field, or at the podium or as a personality that you are like, yeah, that's not going to work as a head coach? Are you because the reason why I'm saying is like JG should be fired, but I do feel bamboozled by him because I do just think I really thought it was going to work and it clearly hasn't. And he should be fired. But is there anything besides the record where you're like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense? He sucks at the podium. I don't like his interviews. Like, is there anything deeper than that?
No, I mean, obviously you want to see coaches have a little bit more energy to them in terms of addressing the media, especially when you've had a season like this. And he's always stayed kind of cool, calm, and collected, which some people may view that as, all right, well, he's not bothered by or he's at least not faltering in this. But to me, one of the best coaches I played for was Mike Vrabel. Let's just get that out there. And we all have seen how he deals with the media, and how he talks to the media. I just feel like I feel like, within this year of me really paying attention to the Cardinals, I've seen clock management issues. I've seen being out schemed. I've seen, just certain things in terms of situational football like that are baseline level things. And some coaches are just better coordinators than they are head coaches. And
most are.
Yeah, most are. It's a lot. You got to deal with administration and, upstairs. Like, it's a lot as a head coach. And so I don't want to say he's a bad coach, but I do think he's a better coordinator than he is head coach. And for that, you got to get guys in that can help him run the show. So I don't know, man. There's nothing that that doesn't work, because we've seen all different types of head coaches kind of deal with it in their own way. I will say winning cures all, though.
Yeah, and I will say one thing. I know we got to go to break here. I got to say one thing. Like, just reiterating at the end of the year, people forget so quickly how dysfunctional the coaching staff was the last time and how dysfunctional the front office was the last time. I know that it's not good. The record's not good. If they fire him, I get it. But this team outside of the lines is so far superior maturity-wise than it was that it shouldn't save somebody's job. But if it's 50-50, even though it shouldn't be 50-50, it should be a resounding bring him back for it. He has been an adult through all of this, getting peppered after losing and losing and losing. It doesn't make it better between the lines. And yeah, you got to coach for your job. But the dude could have done such a more poor job while losing than he's done. Everybody loves him. He's not a PE coach. Everybody loves him, like Cliff, who gave him cell phone breaks and fruit baskets and stuff during practice. Everybody loves him. They respect him as a head coach. And that should be enough if it's 50-50 to bring him back. Even if 50-50 is irrational.
I think, just to back you, I think we're all saying, like, it shouldn't be 50-50, but we get it. With that being said, let's get to some way too early draft discussion, and let's do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you do. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, and beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or with advantages of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more for your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Robinhood, your money. All right, the Arizona Cardinals right now, I guess not even right now, they have the third overall pick in the draft. Way too early draft discussions. What should the Arizona Cardinals be targeting right now? I guess it says third on Tankathon, but regardless, fourth, what should they be targeting?
It says third on Tankathon right now? Really? Did you refresh that?
I just went to it.
Oh, because Tennessee's strength of schedule ended up being higher? You got to be kidding me. How are the Cardinals? See, that John Gaines 15-yard penalty ain't so bad. Ain't so bad right now. At 3, like, best offensive lineman. I don't care. Best offensive lineman. Like, Jamil, would you take Spencer Fano from Utah to play right tackle You taking the best pass rusher to go alongside Josh Sweat because the pass rush was non-existent this year, or are you actively looking to trade back?
I'm definitely taking someone up front. Now,
Okay.
It's splitting hairs for me in terms of whether I get a pass rusher or whether I get an offensive lineman. I personally would lean towards the offensive line. I know how important it is to be able to rush the passer. And given the division you're in, with Sam Darnold and Matt Stafford, like, you got to be able to rush the passer in the division. And Brock Purdy, excuse me. And so I think you got to go offensive line. I think at some point in this game, there was on 14 dropbacks, Jacoby had been hit 12 times. And so that to me is glaring. And if you plan on, winning in this league, you got to be able to protect the quarterback and rush the passer. I think they got enough on defense when you get Walter Nolan back. And guys, he can be an interior presence, and then Sweat will be there as well. But I think they got enough to generate the pass protection. And then when you get healthier on the back end, you'll also have more coverage, sacks, things like that. So I think you got to go offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, I know the Mendoza kid's going to go. The Moore kid's probably going to go. I don't understand why people love him so much. He's just the second best quarterback in this class. The Cardinals could get the first overall pick at 3. It was just the same with Marv. Everybody thought Marv was the best player in that draft. They got him at 4. So there's 2 different schools of thought here, and this is way too early as we discussed, but I think it should be offensive line. I thought it should have been Gray Zabel, and then an offensive line. How did Gray Zabel play last night? Oh, pretty damn good. Interesting. Yeah. You have a swing tackle or a swing guard who plays center. Oh, we went to a small school. Pro Bowler, rookie year. Eat it. So this time, listen to Papa Alex. Listen to me. Draft an offensive lineman. I don't care if it's a 3. I don't care if it's a 5-pick overreach. It doesn't matter what your favorite draft pundits say, where things should go. This isn't fantasy football. Draft what you need the most in that elite category, and all you have to do is set and forget it.
Where would the Cardinals be right now, Clancy, if they took Will Anderson instead of Paris Johnson Jr.?
That's not fair because they ended up with Garrett Williams also, and then by proxy they ended up with Michael Wilson also. So that's not. I'm still taking Paris Johnson Jr. in that trade.
I'll be honest with you guys. Now that they have the 3rd overall pick, I have changed a little bit. I want them to select an offensive lineman, but I want them to do it at pick 7, pick 6, and I want them to trade back. This team has too many freaking holes to be to just be selected. Yes. I mean, yes. After a 3, you are what your record says you are, and just so everyone knows, here's the top 10 selecting order right now from Tankathon: Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, Tennessee, Giants, Cleveland, Washington.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy that they jump back. That Tennessee jumped back 400%.
It took a couple of different things. It took Cleveland beating the Bengals. It took the Giants beating the Cowboys, and it took another thing in there that I'm not seeing right now. But it took 3 separate things to happen for the Cardinals to jump all the way up to 3, and that has changed it for me a little bit. Where I think your first option is to try and trade back. You guys, you're not interested in taking Ruben Bain or any edge rusher right now.
It depends.
You do have a need there, is all I'm saying.
But go ahead, Jamil.
I mean, everyone has a need for another pass rusher. I think, like I told Clancy, I think you can supplement that by getting Walter Nolan back and him playing consistently, and then getting your defensive back room back healthy. I think the lack of pass protection, the lack of pass rushing is correlated obviously to a lot of the injuries that you had on the back end. So would I fault the Cardinals if they took a pass rusher? No, but is it the best move for them? No, it's not the best move. The best move for them is to get a a tackle or an offensive lineman. I think you got to be able to bolster the offensive line. 0 run game this year. You have to be able to do something to combat that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, think of it like this. Patrick Peterson got drafted, 5th overall, whatever he was that year. And they didn't draft or bring in another corner to play alongside him for the entirety of his career with the Cardinals, outside of Antonio Cromartie in 2014 over from the Chargers. Cooper. Well, yeah, and they had Brandon Williams, who was a running back at Texas A&M that they converted to a corner, and they drafted Byron Murphy, and then Patrick Peterson cheated, so he missed 6 games during Byron Murphy's rookie year. Imagine having a bookend. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to save up $1,000. And when I save $1,000, I'm then going to be able to treat myself. You get up to $975, like, nope, let's go to the casino. It's like, no, you're here. They were supposed to draft an offensive lineman last year. Ben's going to get there. And then this year, you have a chance to draft an offensive lineman. You're all the way there. Just do it. You need it more than anything else. And luckily, free agency is before the draft. So if you bring in an edge rusher, you bring in an interior offensive lineman, and you have Spencer Fano to add to the end of it, or whoever it's going to be. Because remember, the defense last year got all the attention outside of Hayden Connor in the 6th round. The offense has to be the focal point this offseason outside of a pass rusher and maybe an off-ball backer.
What about trading up for a quarterback?
No. Stop it.
Hey, we are. This is way too early draft discussion.
Yeah.
We're hitting things on the head.
Well, the Raiders aren't trading out of that. There's no world the Raiders aren't taking Mendoza.
Who's going to be there?
I'm just going to throw this out there. 3rd overall pick, Kyler Murray, and a 2nd round pick for the 1st overall pick.
The Raiders won't do that. They want their quarterback for the future. Plus, they're paying Geno Smith $18.5 million already this year.
Yeah, I think everyone's really, really high up on Mendoza. So you got to get the rookie contract under there in terms of what the money looks like. They're paying Geno. So I think Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick. I don't think that it would be silly of the Raiders to say, yeah, let's go ahead and take Kyler Murray when we got this kid at number 1. So,
Dante Moore, anyone?
No.
Barf.
You wouldn't. So I'm just again. I would generally agree with you guys, but you wouldn't move up a slot if it costs you it's not going to cost you much. You're going up from 3 to 2.
That's not the point.
It costs you something to solidify Dante Moore. Would you do?
It's not the cost of somebody. It's moving up to draft a quarterback who's not ready. Like, the guy's not. Can you watch the play? Like, I know that Texas Tech has a good defense. But the dude is efficient. 15 or 18 for 1-4. It's like, stop.
He also threw a ball.
He's not. It's not it.
He also threw a ball directly to an inside linebacker. Like, again, I love Mendoza. I don't really understand the Moore thing. But here's this other caveat to it. If they're keeping Monty Ossenfort and they're keeping Jonathan Gannon, we all agree that next year is the prove-it year, which we all don't agree with, but we're saying it's a prove-it year. They're going to do anything to save their jobs. So if they're going to go after and what is going to save their job? Not a right tackle. Saving their job is getting their franchise quarterback, like the Giants tried to do this year with Dart and tried to save their jobs no longer. Clancy, I 100% agree with you. That is another reason why you should be moving on from this staff, because I don't want them working out of desperation with such high draft pick, where the mature decision, take the best player available and whatever, let's just say it's Bain, or take the healthiest decision and get your right tackle. Both those I can see sides on. What I don't want to do is forcing a quarterback on this team I think they'll try to do.
I don't think they will. There's no evidence that that's what they're going to do. What all the report came out that said from Ian Rappaport was that Jonathan Gannon's going to have a conversation. He's going to be more, in the conversation about a quarterback. I feel like it'll be Jacoby, and you want to bring in another vet. I'm not ready to do this yet, but I'll soft launch it now because we have to go to the next segment, so we can't talk about it a lot.
Don't say it. I wanted to say it first. Damn you.
Aaron Rodgers.
God dang, I hate this guy. I hate this guy.
Chill. I did this on my show last week, but Aaron Rodgers, if he moves off from Pittsburgh, he is a perfect fit to be able to feed the ball to those 3 dudes. He's a perfect fit.
He's right. You're right. I got nothing against it. This is something I've been. My wife loves Aaron Rodgers, so I soft launched this to her 2 months ago. But it makes way too much sense.
Jamil,
he's better. It makes way too much sense if you're not going to go quarterback route. Oh,
I'm just wondering why the black trucks never show up to you guys' house when you get to saying stuff like this. They only show up to my house.
Yo, he is the best option out there that they can attain.
He's right.
If it's not Jacoby Brissett. And you bring him in and you do the Tyrod and him situation with the Jets and you figure out who the best guy is. He's only going to make $10 million next year. Like, it's not going to be breaking the bank. I don't know. It's way too early, but it would be kind of fun.
He's been pretty good. He's been pretty good.
Kind of fun.
And I think it would be fun. And I think he'd be able, like, DK Metcalf had a good year aside from, fighting fans. Like, they're getting the ball to Washington, the tight end who's out for the season, or Pat Freiermuth. Like, he makes way too much sense. And I was going to soft launch this week, but Clancy beat me to the punch. So I guess now we're just Hardy Boys tag teaming it right now. I think actually that's the best course of action for this team. If you're not, I don't even like forget it being like fun. I think it's actually the smartest thing to do. Smartest thing to do. Have a lot of bad options.
Yeah, Jamil's totally step-brothering right now. You want to punch me right now. It's like, you want to punch me right in the face.
This is not the WWE, guys. Like, when do you get your quarterback for the future then? Like,
it's not this year.
It's not this year. Yeah, it's not
this
year.
Hey, listen. My math equation is you obviously have Jacoby there.
Yeah.
Bring in Malik Willis. Run it with those two guys.
Okay. What is more crazy, Malik Willis or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers is more crazy, but I mean, obviously,
like between the ears or just like a crazy idea.
I think I don't know, man.
Black trucks.
Hey, listen, I gotta watch what I say. I know.
I'm just kidding.
They got me tapped.
The black SUVs will be outside Jamil's door in just a moment. Let's say farewell to this Cardinals 2025 season. Let's also break down potentially where it all went wrong. Let's try to sift through it, and let's do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Rocket Money. Let's be real, managing your finances can be overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money has gone each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control, and who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Listen, I remember I had a bunch of subscriptions before I was buying my house, and I was like, we got to get rid of these things if we want to afford this house. And it was things like Paramount Plus or Spotify. And Rocket Money allows me to see those things and say, hey, man, why are you spending money on this? You're not using it. Get rid of it. I also love how it tracks all of my spending, allowing myself to really budget a little bit more clearly and understand, hey, maybe I don't need that third cup of coffee this week from my favorite coffee shop. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockdown. It's rocketmoney.com/lockdown. One more time, rocketmoney.com/lockdown. All right, let's say farewell to this Cardinals 2025 season. I'll leave it really open-ended, but I do want to try to discuss and tackle this one thing. Where did it all go wrong?
Go
anyone,
ahead,
this is
go ahead, Jamil.
This is an
take this one.
Open forum.
It all went wrong when Kyler Murray left that game. That at that point,
when he got hit in the head with the football?
When he got hit in the head with the football, it was like click back to reality. Everything from a structure standpoint went out the window in my eyes. And I know, I'm not saying that, because they had didn't have Kyler Murray that the season didn't pan out. But I do think we got the unrealistic feel out of this team this year. Like we never got to say, okay, all the chips were in and it still didn't work. Like, we started seeing injuries. We got obviously James Conner was out. Like, everything just changed so early on. So off the top of my head, I'll say when that ball hit Kyler Murray in the face mask, man, that's kind of when everything went wrong. I don't know. What do you think, Clancy?
Well, yeah. I mean, they won one game after Kyler Murray went out in week 5. which is crazy. And at the time, it was against a team that was still in contention. They had an under 500 record, but they were the second best offense in football, and the Cardinals gave up 10 points. And they put up almost just like, how does that shift to giving up 40 burgers and 35 plus in multiple games after the bye? For me, it was when they weren't able to adjust to James Conner and then Garrett. Like, put it this way. Let's take a trip down memory road here. If the Cardinals handled business against Carolina, maybe not everybody gets hurt. Like, maybe Garrett Williams isn't in the game at the end of the game. Maybe, and that's not fair. It's like butterfly effect stuff. But, like, I can confidently say, outside of the Dallas game, there was not one moment this season where you were comfortable with what you were watching. Like, outside of maybe the first half against Carolina and the first half against Tennessee, and then the Dallas game. So 2 games out of 17, it was enjoyable to watch because the Cardinals were in contention and most likely going to win the game. Like, that is Looney Tunes. So where did it go wrong? Yeah, you could say Kyler. There was no game plan for Jacoby Brissett to come in, but I don't know if there's a world where you look at Kyler and be like, hey, the offense would have run better.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, do you just soft launch again the goodbye of Kyler Murray? I don't know, man. That's the biggest thing for me is, like, it's a breakup.
Yeah.
It's been a 7-year relationship. It's been kind of fun. It's been exciting at times, but it's over. Which is a weird realization to come to in any relationship, let alone obviously just the quarterback of the team that you cover.
It's crazy that Panthers game feels like a decade ago, just considering. I mean, and then, them versus the Colts, where we're like, oh snap, they're battling with this team. And they come up short, and then go to the Cowboys game. Like, it just, I don't know, man. There was so many moments where I think I had a different outlook because I haven't been covering the Cardinals for this long. But there was so many moments where I'm like, this is the turning point. This is where, this win will catapult them into, like, kind of breaking the spell or whatever you want to call it. And it never happened. And it's just, man, I don't know. I've never seen a team have so many bright spots, but yet it'd be so dark in terms of the final product at the end of the season. Like, if you told me before the season Michael Wilson would have the year that he had, I might have said, I don't know, that's probably shooting a little too high. He has a great year. Trey McBride has a great year. Jacoby throws for 3,000 yards. Like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. I mean, I use this this analogy. The movie Slumdog Millionaire with Dev Patel. It's like he goes on the version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in his country, and he just happens to have an experience that goes with every question asked, and he wins the big prize. This is the opposite of that. Like, this is the true Murphy's Law of, like, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and all the controllables the Cardinals could control were hinged upon something that they couldn't control with injuries. And that's why I say that outside of the first 4 or 5 weeks where they should have beat San Francisco, they sleptwalked. For those that forget, well, Kyler would have done better. That was the worst offensive performance I've ever seen this Cardinals team have through the first 2.5 quarters against Seattle. And then the Marv catch, they came all the way back, whatever it was. And then Tennessee, you can blame Amari DiMercato all you want. They were up 21-3 in the second quarter and didn't score again against a team that won 3 games all year. Okay? Yeah. So, like, it's bad. Walter Nolan's rookie year was a severe disappointment because he didn't play. What you saw was great. He's like a shining star that just flickered out. You saw 2 good games and that was it. Will Johnson looked good for a chunk of the season, but he was out. Like, there's so many more questions and answers now after this season, and not the good ones. Yeah, and that is not where you were going into the season.
No, for sure. I was, Ben had said something around, like, this team has a lot of holes to fill. And out of the top 4 teams that are picking, I would say they have the least amount of holes to fill, which is tough considering, they won 3 games. Like, how can they have, the least amount of holes out of the top 4 guys picking, or the top 4 teams picking in the draft? And so while everything is, not what you wanted this season. And we can be critical of the team. I do think that they're a couple moves away, and I'm not talking about, obviously players is a part of it. They're a couple moves away from being realistic with themselves and getting it turned around. We've been super critical of them, but I don't want to make it seem like it's all bad, because there is a little bit of hope considering what you saw. I just think you got to nail it when it comes to coaching. That is the biggest thing with this team. They got a bunch of talent. Guys are going to be coming back. They're going to get healthy. We're going to, James Conner's going to come back. Like, all these guys are going to come back. You got to nail it with coaching. And that's the part that I'm skeptical about for next season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, personnel, it's just, if we're playing Madden and you got the Cardinals, pretty strong Madden team.
You would be fine.
I think that's
you would be fine.
Right. If injuries were just turned off and you were playing on easy.
Yeah.
The things they do have going for them that they didn't have going for them this year is they lost a tiebreaker to San Francisco last year in week 17 for the last place schedule. Okay, so then the Cardinals winning in week 18 didn't matter because they already lost a tiebreaker. They will for sure have a last place schedule next year. Okay?
Yes.
So for those that don't know, like, that's how parity is maintained in this league. The inverse order by which you finished is the strength of schedule that you'll have. So the Cardinals will have the last place schedule, and you're going to have a top 3 pick, which is crazy that the Cardinals are picking third over. Like, I don't care how long we've been doing this for this year. That blows my mind. That is insane to me. See, still, we talk about this team every day. It's still crazy talk. Everybody in the chat can agree, and everybody listens and watches later. It's like, how did they pick number 3 overall after all they did last offseason?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I just don't. But you have it going for them that you have a third overall pick. You've got money to spend. You've got all your picks. And for those who don't know how the draft works, I'm not saying this, as a joke. Like, Cardinals have the 3rd pick in each round. So you kind of have 2 first-round picks. And, you've got, and obviously with compensatory picks, it changes a little bit down the stretch. But, like, they're going to be in the best position to completely make people forget about this season. It's just a matter of actually doing it.
Yeah.
I guess that's one guiding light going into the offseason.
Yeah, you got to nail this pick. I'll tell you that right now. Like, this pick cannot be one that fizzles out within the next couple of years. Like, this pick has to be the one that you can count on, So it'll be interesting. I think everyone's going to be shocked if they don't go with an offensive lineman or a pass rusher, someone up front, because I do think as far as receiver goes and, DB and things like that, I think you can get by. You don't have to be top tier at every position to be good, but you do have to secure your offensive line to give yourself a chance to protect your quarterback and get a run game going. And you do have to be able to get after the passer. And so I think it's evident if we're sitting here and we're saying it, I hope that they're saying the same thing in terms of, like, we got to go up front with this pick.
Well, because outside of the complete wild outside chance that Kyler Murray comes back next year, you're going to have a pocket passing quarterback. Again, you haven't had for the last 7 years. You will now. So you need to solidify. Like, it's so stupidly simple that if you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
An offensive line can make Jalen Hurts look all pro. Okay, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He has, I call it having tea parties. He has a tea party every snap. He can do, he can do any sort of dance he wants back there, and he can just chill. He's got like the Grand Canyon to be able to throw it and look and and whatever. He's a good quarterback too, but it exacerbates it. This is the worst possible outcome from this year. I think we could all agree at that. This is the absolute worst possible outcome. With that said, there are going to be wild new beginnings starting tomorrow, whether it be coaching staff, it's going to be quarterback, and they've got a blueprint out there that they just need to fulfill to remedy this and make everybody forget. And I think the last place schedule next year is going to be huge. Last place schedule next year is going to be huge.
How much of that really matters, though? We don't know what's going to
Ask San
happen
Francisco.
next year. But
Ask
we
San
don't.
Francisco.
Yeah, but you could also talk about.
Ask New England, who didn't play a team over 500 this year. No, that's not true. The average was under 400 or something like that. Look at the teams who had the easiest schedules this year. They're in the playoffs, all of them. The Broncos, it's very, very clear how important the strength of schedule is.
So how is that going to change things next year? Let's say that they win. Like, does that still make us think that the Cardinals can beat up on a bunch of bad teams? Because they didn't really do that this year either.
Well, everybody would you can't compare, comparing this year to next year in any facet you can't do it. We have no idea what next year is going to look like with this roster, with the coaching staff, with the player personnel. We're not going to know. Plus, the Cardinals play with the practice squad for over half the season this year.
Oh, we're going to have the whole season to dive deep into it and get even more crazy about what's going to happen with the Cardinals this offseason, free agency, NFL draft. We haven't even played the first game of the playoffs yet, and we're all talking about the craziness of it. So hang with us all offseason long. For Jamil, Clancy, myself, you guys follow us on all social media platforms. You can find those in the description down below. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. We're going to watch some Sunday Night Football and watch some teams actually competing for playoff replication. So with that being said, we'll talk to you guys next week, and we'll see you then.